was thinking he had deep help and didn't really get it.
Do you notice who caught that ball, John? I didn't get a number. I apologize.
Hey, he was so far down there that it was out of my vision.
But Henderson for 23 yards and a touchdown on his first completed pass, I believe. And there's a good extra point from number 1, Sean Kerr. And with 4 minutes and 33 seconds left in the first quarter, I'd have to be less than honest if I didn't say that the Warriors have been their own worst enemy in this first quarter, John. The score is 7-0.
They sure have. Hopefully they can improve on their field position when they take this kickoff. Mike, how many times have you ever seen a play like that when a receiver is so wide open? That's got to be one of the hardest offensive plays to complete. There's so many times I've seen it when the quarterback sees a guy standing there by himself. He either overthrows it, underthrows it, and when he throws it right to it, the receiver hits him in the hands, hits him in the helmet, and then falls on the ground. But I tell you, neither one of the guys on either end of that reception seemed to be bothered by the fact that it was so wide open.
Well, after about a 2 count, the Warriors got some pressure on Henderson, but there was no one within 20 yards of the receiver.
Yeah, that was just a situation, I believe, where someone was supposed to come over and help on that deep coverage, and it just never did really happen. They were supposed to rotate over, and I don't think that they ever realized what the coverage was.
Along with number 46, Toris, Wilder.
Sean Kerr, the man, Wilder, and Sneed, the men back, and we've got look out for onside. There they go. They've got to come up and catch it. He's got to catch the ball. The man running the block has to catch the ball. You see him, he ran by the ball to make a block. Number 56, I don't want to blame anybody.
Yeah, that was Bobby Cullum.
Cullum has to go to that ball.
I'm sure he felt as though some of the guys back there that had the hands were coming up and closing on the ball to catch it. He was going to try to give that teammate an extra split second or two to be able to get to the ball, but in fact there were 3 other guys that ran right by him, and one of them fell on it.
Well, that was a short offensive series, and Henderson is back under. John Henderson, the senior. Deep pitch to Chambers, and he's roaming in the secondary. Chambers, a gain of 11, and did he knock some people down when he finally took his tackle? John, they just can't let a running back fall forward like that.
No, and the right side of the offensive line for Grapevine also pushed their men back a good ways. Mike, whenever an offensive team gets momentum like Grapevine has right now, I tell you what, and plus, especially when they're in the plus side of the field, it's really hard to stop them when they're gathering momentum like Grapevine is right now.
Twin backs, power football to this side, and I believe they were a blocker short. That was Danny Ireland, but I just don't believe the blocking was there for that power play to the left side, John.
Yeah, number 89, Son Rubino, made an excellent defensive play. He followed it, actually was a trailer on that play, and he broke through the defensive line, or through the offensive line, and was following the running back, and when he slowed up a little bit, well, Son caught him from behind, laid a pretty good stick on him.
I think Kevin Horn is hurt. He's supposed to be on defense, and after he made that run, he did not come back on defense. And number 1, Ricky Armajo, has been warming up as a punter, and there's a touchdown right there. Chambers, number 33, and sloppy tackling Warriors, 2 or 3 men. John had a shot at him, and they didn't make the play.
Yeah, we had a cornerback and maybe a couple of cornerbacks. A couple of the defensive backs in any event had a shot at him right there at the last. When those big backs get into that secondary and start gaining speed through there, they're hard to tackle one-on-one, and really what South has got to do is try to keep them from getting into the secondary, and they just hadn't had any success at that up to this point of the game.
I can't see him on the sidelines, but I would guess that Kevin Horn is hurt. And there's David Wright making his presence known. Old 53 got a chance to meet David, as they say. David, you got his last name, John, not me. But he got to meet David Wright up close and personal.
Mike, while we're waiting for him to sort things out, I'd like to also mention one of the guys that we've been seeing a lot of tonight is not on the playing field. I see him down on the sideline, but he's just in a jersey and not in his regular uniform. That's number 20, John Biggins. I was told before the game. Now you're seeing him regroup on the extra point. I was told before the game that he suffered a stretched ligament in his knee and is going to be out approximately 3 to 4 weeks. We certainly hope that he'll have
He is the one that's supposed to be spelling Lawrence in that deep back position, so
right.
That's not good news.
We certainly hope he'll have a speedy recovery and come back without any kind of ill effects at all.
Biggins is a junior. Well, let me tell you, folks, when the wheels fall off, they all fall off, and that Warrior defense has been on the field for a long time, and it's now, with 4 minutes and 20 seconds, John, it was 7-0. With 3 minutes and 22 seconds, it's 14-0.
South is going to have to steal a little bit of the fire from Grapevine at this point of the game, and really at this stage they simply can't allow Grapevine to get another unanswered touchdown. They've got to go down and make something happen themselves on the offensive side. As Mike said, that's going to accomplish two different things. Not only are they going to need to score, but they're going to need to give their defense a little bit of a rest on the sideline as well.
In the film there, you see number 80, Kevin Horn, and the gentleman standing next to him is a team physician, Dr. Gary Gurkoff, and Horn's got his helmet off, but he is walking around, but he is standing there talking to the team physician.
May have got his bell rung a little bit or something. I guess we'll
keep the tackle over here on the sidelines, John.
We'll keep an eye on him to see if he's going to be back into the game.
You think that onside again, John? I think they'll kick away here.
I think so. That usually doesn't work, but maybe just one time in the game. I know one thing that South will definitely work on next week during practices, though.
There's Sneed, number 42, carrying the ball, makes a good move up the middle. He's got some openings. Ooh!
Almost. He had one man.
He had one step, and he would have hurt him. One step, and a good tackle by number 24.
The only guy,
Bill Heiner, H-I-N-E-R.
The only guy besides him that could have caught him was the kicker, and we all know the kickers can't tackle. So
well, there was also a blocker in the kicker's face.
Right.
Well, now we're losing the points, but we are improving the field position. It's 1st and 10 on the 42.5-yard line. 27, Gary Saunders. Number 2, Shepard, come to this side. We're rolling to this side. Lawrence is the lead blocker. He sets up the throw. He's got an opening to this side. Make a move right there. Well, not much of a move, but quarterbacks don't make much moves, do they, John?
Tell you what, even at that, though, Mike, he made a good 7 or 8 yards.
A gain of, let's call it 8 yards. Let's call it 7, excuse me. Gain of 7 yards by Heath Hartman, the quarterback.
We'll take those plays like that all night long. We've got number 2, John Shepard, coming off the field.
Well, Mays comes in with a play, number 5. Mays.
Hayes.
Is it Hayes?
Hayes.
I'm sorry. I apologize. It's David Hayes.
He may have called his own number here.
Lawrence, power football, and he does get the mark and gets the first down. So Lawrence for a gain of 4 and a first down.
Is that our second first down, Mike? Was the
That's
one
our
that
second
Horn,
first down.
the one that Horn ran on the busted punt?
Yeah, we have a bad snap for a first down, and then that one.
Well, this is definitely looking encouraging now. South has got their first drive that's gotten them over midfield. They've got some open field in front of, but definitely not as much as they've had on previous plays.
Argamez comes back in a wing position. Shepard split. It's a fake up the middle. There's a breakdown on the pass coverage. That was not the play, John.
I don't believe so either. I think there was a busted play, and maybe the second back through, maybe Lawrence was supposed to have actually gotten the handoff, though. I'm not
curled
sure.
up for a pass. I believe Hartman was looking for somebody out there, but let's show Hartman on a carry for a -2.
From the Mustang 49-yard line.
Number 25's coming in, and that's Cedric Brock, and we haven't heard his name, and he was a returning letterman from, I believe he is, isn't he, John?
I think so, yes. I think you were right on that play, though, Mike. I think there wasn't any of the offensive linemen downfield. It looked like they were pass blocking.
We have a procedure call, and my guess is Gambo, number 73, pulled out too soon from the left tackle position, John.
Let me go ahead and set the offensive line for you. These are the real horses on the offense. Number 71, of course, as we discussed, is David Wright back at his more accustomed position at tackle spot. Number 74, Mike Love, as we've already discussed, going both ways. Number 57 is also a returning starter from last year, Robert Sevey. Number 73 is Ray Gambo, who we had just mentioned, and number 60 is Mark Elaine, which is he's only a junior and is also a returning starter. He started as a sophomore last year.
Man in motion, and I believe we have a motion call again, and I hate to tell you this, but it was a tight end, number 88, Jason Webb, who jumped off sides. I tell you, the Warriors are disorganized, John, by every category you want to put them in right now.
This is the old drill, and really there's not too many drills that you can practice on in practice to really work on this, but this is just the old situation where they're losing their composure a little bit, whether it be because of the fact that Grapevine has kind of had the upper hand at this point. Things just haven't been going right, but Mike, there's just not really too many ways of teaching composure during a course of a practice on a
Another word for that
basis.
is they're behind and they're trying too hard. They're jumping off sides. They're not the composure. They're not set. Man in motion. Archimedes are close enough. Good option. Hartman got tripped up. That's a good play. It was second down and 20 plus, but Hartman has a gain of 9. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 14, John.
3rd and 14. I don't think anybody here in the stadium really is questioning that this is going to be probably a pass play here. It just kind of depends on what.
Do you think that was a pass play, or was Hartman going to keep all the way?
I think it looked to me as though he was going to keep, but it may have been an option. May have been a little bit of an option.
If he was looking for a receiver, he looked quick. Howard in motion, comes up to make a block. It's a handoff to Lawrence, and he's not going too far unless these two men missed their tackle. And that was an excellent open field tackle by number 22, and that is Chris Dalton, a junior. Good open field tackle on Gerald, and the Warriors are going to punt, and I want to see who comes in to do this punting. Well, it is Horn.
Back in.
Number 80, Kevin Horn, in punt formation.
We've got a...
Shepard is the snapper, by the way. Number 2 comes to snap for the punts, the wide receiver.
We've got to get a lot better.
There's the quarter. They're not going to move but 2 yards, John. They're on the 49. They got to move to the other 49.
We've got to get some better field position out of this punt. And again, even though Horn has been back to punt one time before, if he does get this one away, this will be the first punt that we see from Kevin tonight. So really the wind is not going to be a factor in this. We didn't really gain anything by changing ends. It's going to be interesting, though, to see if he can get a foot into one.
Well, I think the other thing is, like you mentioned a while ago, John, you got 3 quarters of football left, and this game's far from over, but you are down 14, and you've got to keep the same game plan you came in with can overcome a 14-point deficit. But they put another on the board, and then you've got to change your game plan and go to a wide-open offense.
That's exactly right. Mike, let me mention something. Well, we're going to get back to play here. I'll mention this. I'm going to tell you something about the Cheyenne drill team here in just a second. I want to make sure that we have a little bit of time to do that.
Kevin's a man back on the snap. Got a good snap this time. A little pressure from the right side.
Good punt.
Good hanging punt.
Good coverage.
Everybody kept their lanes and kept their position.
Specialty teams, you can tell that a lot of work goes into those specialty teams, and that was all aided with a tremendous punt from Kevin Horn. I didn't see exactly what the yardage involved in that was, but it definitely had a lot of hang time, and he had some good.
Our statistician knows how many yards was that on the punt. How much? 55 yards on that punt.
Excellent punt.
Henderson, the man under, and he's been busy so far. Man in motion to the strong side, hand off to the up back. And that is Chambers, and he's going to be down Chambers with a gain of about 2 yards.
Mike, Grapevine is really trying to establish herself on the inside. That play, David Lucas, number 75, who goes about 6'2" and 255, he's trying his best to jam up the middle, but they're actually double and sometimes even triple teaming him, trying to push and soften that area up, and he's no easy guy to move, and they're still coming after him.
I tell you, how many times have we called Jason Villalba's name? Somebody's doing a job on him tonight, too. But there's Jason getting the tackle. Maybe I got some luck going for him. Jason Villalba, number 33, on the tackle. Henderson, the quarterback, kept. And it's going to be a gain of about 2. And it's going to bring up 3rd down and a long 5, gain of 2.
Mike, I'll tell you, in order for Jason to get in on that play, he fought off a block from offensive guard then John Furwalt. Furwalt goes at 6 foot 3 inches, 215 pounds. What kind of stats we have on Jason? Jason's about 5 foot 10, 185. That shouldn't have been much of a matchup, but I tell you, Jason got the best part of it. You got a tough player, 2 tough players in there, in Gary Howard and Jason Villalba in the middle, and you got some pretty strong defensive linemen that are trying to protect them in there.
John mentioned the Cheyennes, and he'll talk about that in just a second. But let me remind you that once again this year we'll be bringing you both bands at halftime. Chuck Edwards and someone else who I'll announce in a minute. I apologize. We'll be bringing you the halftime. John, you want to talk about the Cheyennes for a second?
Yeah, Mike. One of the greatest spirit groups that you'll see anywhere, and I know the people are very proud of the Cheyennes, and rightly so. This year, the captain of the Cheyennes is Kim Babcock. First lieutenant is Melissa Trossel. Other lieutenants for the Cheyennes, Jan Rhodes, Tracy Thompson, Alicia Clarkson, Vicki House. And last week, they give these awards out every year for the outstanding performances. The Cheyenne of the Week was Glenda Galvin, and the Spirit Award was given to Michelle Burns.
Which is kind of tricky since they never were on the field last week. Rain got them. But I'm sure it's for participation.
They showed a lot of spirit in just being
going deep. There's the shot, and we broke off the man. Al Sneed broke off of him, but the ball was overthrown. Let me also remind you, while they regroup, that this is brought to you by Store Cable TV and our 7 sponsors, John Hill and myself, Mike Lewis, but we could not put this on without the help of the South Grand Prairie TV class, who runs the cameras, does our stats, and we'll be doing our working in the booth once we get all the equipment working later in the year. Good hard snap. Not that much of a punt, but he's got to pick it up. Good bounce. He picks it up. That's Archimedes, I bet, and good coverage. And the Warriors are going to take over on their 30. They're going to take over on their 30, and at this time, we're going to take a break to reset the tape. I think we are. No, we're not. I thought about taking a break.
Mike, number 41, Kevin Bailey, almost got through to block that punt, and it looked as though maybe their punter took an extra step. It seemed like it took him an awful long time to get that punt off. Almost blocked then. We may look for a rush, a little heavier rush next time.
Straight hand up the middle to Gerald. Made two nice moves, and let's give Lawrence 10 yards, and the Warriors have a first down, and Gerald showed some moves that time, John.
David Wright, Mark Elaine, and also number 88, Jason Webb, downfield blocking, and
let's give you one stat right quick. Chambers, their running back, had 52 yards in the first quarter, John.
Not a bad quarter. If he puts 3 more of those together, Mike, I'm not a great mathematician, but I would say that that'd be a 200-plus game if he could put 3 more of those together. Talking about the South students that help out in the telecast, I tell you, the South people in general are so hospitable to us, as are the Grand Prairie High School people as well, but they really have some great organizations here at South Grand Prairie, and their Cheyenne organization and their quarterback club, and just a whole lot of different people who add to the support and the spirit here that help these players so much.
Heath Hartman, the senior, number 12, the man under. One back. Lawrence, single back. Everybody, Howard was in a wing, and Howard is the pass receiver. It's a curl in for Shepard, and the ball was underthrown, but Shepard was open about 10 yards down the field, John.
Yeah, and Heath Hartman, that's the first time tonight that I've really seen him get his feet set, and was a real well-thrown pass. It was a little bit underthrown, but by far that was the best pass that he has thrown tonight. So I think you could contribute that to a little bit more time that his offensive line gave him, and it may be that maybe South is getting into a little bit better groove now.
Twin backs. Armenius, I believe, is in the slot. I'm sorry, it was not him. It was 23. Yeah, it is John Armenius. I'm sorry.
Number 34, Gary.
That's Gary Howard, the up back, who, as John told you earlier, is really a blocker back there, but does have good speed. Gary carried the ball last year, and he got a gain of about, well, let's give Howard 3 on the play, and that brings up 3rd down and 7.
Gary's got some good size back there, 5 foot 9 inches, 190 in the program. May go closer to 195 or 200. He's a strong-looking individual.
Hey, split to the near side. Power football. They faked the power, and that block was not made. 24 was not blocked, John, and I'll guarantee you, when that quarterback rolls out, that's that Bill Heiner, who I called out a while ago, made a good open field tackle on Lawrence. You've got to get that man down, give that quarterback some time.
Sure was, and I didn't exactly see where he broke through, but I'd have to think that
cornerback position.
Yeah, I'd have to think that the one of the backs on that side had the responsibility of getting him in the case that he would penetrate, and they just failed to pick him up.
Horn back, off the side of his foot, John. There goes the field position. Off the side of the foot will never give you a forward bounce, and that ball's going to be marked out of bounds at the 36-yard line. That's going to be 10, 20, a 24-yard punt.
Yeah, that only netted about 24, 25. He had a lot of pressure put on him from his right side, and that was being done by Stanley Chambers, number 32. Which is not to be confused with the number 33 Chambers. This is Chambers that strictly plays defense.
Let me warn the booth. After this play, we're going to pause to change the tape. So you guys down there, get your hands ready and your magic electronics ready, because after this play, we want to change the tape.
Not to mention the tape changer.
Get the tape changer, wake him up and get him ready, because we're going to change the tape. Well, I don't know if we're going to get this play off. They just came in and got old 53 and got him out of there. Power football to the near side, one back, and a bad snap, and he had to take the ball and go up the middle. Henderson for 1, and I hope we change the tape right here. Back, and all you missed was a dive up the middle by Chambers, and he gained 6 yards up the middle, Chambers. And quite honestly, folks, I'm glad you missed it, because, John, there was, 2 missed tackles on the line of scrimmage?
Finally brought down by Clarence Nevels, but it was, as you say, about 6 yards further down the field, and it was right up the middle.
3rd down and 3. Warriors bow their neck. They need to hold here and get the ball with 7 minutes and 14 seconds left, 14-0 Mustangs. Look-in pattern, wide open. Did that ball get tipped, John?
Number 56 for South, Bobby Cullum, all but intercepted the ball. It looked as though it hit him either on the arm or the shoulder pad, and he just couldn't get his hands up quite quick enough, but he did deflect it with some part of his body, and it went just perfectly into the arms of the receiver. That's bad luck.
That was Henderson with a pass and give him a gain of 8 on that pass, and they reload right on the 50-yard line. Grapevine Mustangs, 1st and 10, and a little luck can go a long way, John. Hands off to the up back, Chambers, and he gets hit at the line of scrimmage by number 89, I believe, John, and he falls forward and gets 4 yards out of the play.
Son Rubino was the one that initially made the contact. And Mike, for those viewers that are interested in this kind of thing, if you watch the Grapevine line, when they come out of the huddle, they get up there and they get everything real tight. They don't have wide splits. They're trying to just get everything in there nice and tight, and they're just going straight ahead.
Nearly next to each other.
Right, they're just going right straight ahead. That's just power football.
2 guards pull. They come through the hole, through the seam. We have some major, I'm not going to say it because I love this team, but there was another example of sloppy tackling. Let's give Danny Island, Danny Island a gain of 15, and you can't win hanging on to them and hoping they fall down, John.
Mike, I don't know if Coach Horton had brought him any Rolaids or Alka-Seltzer, but he's going to hit it at halftime if he did. I'm sure that he's like a wildcat walking up and down the sidelines.
Coach Patton has pulled his headphones off. Of course, he's dealing with the offense, but he's not pleased down here either. First down on the 30. A spin to Chambers on the far side, and he's tripped up by Toris Wilder, and give him a gain of 3 by Chambers.
Yeah, the Grapevine, I think Grapevine is experiencing their success because they are basically winning the line of scrimmage, and I think most people will tell you that if you can win the line of scrimmage, you're going to get your backs into the secondary, and half the battle is won at that point. Most of these running backs that you see on all these high school teams are going to do relatively well one-on-one against defensive backs.
2 slot backs, tight end is standing, backs in motion, power football. I don't understand Henderson. He started to follow Chambers in the hole, but Chambers give him no gain on that carry.
Down at the bottom of that pile was number 89 again, Son Rubino. We've called his name numerous times. Also, Jason Biaba, I believe, was involved in that play on defense. And South at this point is just trying to regroup. They're trying to, it looks as though that there's a number of players out there that are looking at the sidelines, and I'm not really sure if they're on their play or not.
Roll to the far side. Some pressure from 78. The ball's open. It's interception. Ooh. Oh, Sneed want to catch that one. So the Warriors will take over on their 27-yard line with 4 minutes and 12 seconds left. Well, there's an example of maybe not thinking, because those defensive men back there should have known they didn't want that ball.
Exactly right, unless he saw something in the open field ahead of him. But I think I spotted at least 3 different defenders up there that would have had a shot at him. And South, is, as far as we can tell right now, really kind of dodged a bullet on that particular defensive performance.
Straight handoff to Lawrence up the middle. We had some good line play and give Lawrence a gain of 6. 6 by Lawrence up the middle. We had we had Hayes and Saunders split to the far side.
We're just a little bit under 4 minutes now left in the half, and still just a 14-point deficit. And again, I feel fortunate that South has just got 2 touchdowns to make up at this point.
Saunders, the wingman split, and there's Lawrence. It's the exact same play right there, John.
Good hole. That was a good hole. Opened up then by Ray Gambo, and
7 yards by Lawrence again.
And Robert Sevy. The left side over here really did a good job then. Mark Lane also involved in the success of that play, because he ran 5 yards then before he was even touched. Mike, I almost think I could have made 5 yards on that play.
Hartman, the man under, single back, Lawrence. Sneed is in a wing position with Howard. Sneed on a wing reverse. A good open field tackle. Sneed came through the hole, but 52 met him at about 4 yards down the field and didn't let go, John. So a gain of 4 by Al Sneed.
That was a little trap action then, and
wingman inside on inside trap.
Worked real well.
Got Shepard split out, and you've got Saunders split out. Howard's in motion, takes a man down. That was not a good pass. That was intended for Lawrence.
John Archimedes.
Excuse me, that was number 10 for number 23, John Archimedes.
Mike, I tell you what, Heath may be lucky that he didn't throw that ball any higher, because their linebacker, number 20, Son Oakland, then really made some ground up after that ball went in the air, and I believe if it had been a little higher, I think he'd have picked it off, and he would have had clean sailing all the way into the end zone.
Big play, 3rd and 7, no problem, because the defense came in, the offensive line broke down,